Okay, for this one, we'll be looking about everything about Eudora. So, Eudora is a mage, and one of the very first mages that you can get for a little gold. First off, her passive makes her damage amplified if there's a status called superconductor attached to the enemy unit. How does the enemy unit have this superconductor effect? With the first skill. Whenever you use the first skill, aside from the magical damage that you use in a cone-shaped area, you inflict this superconductor effect, and also which reduces the target's magical defense. So that explains why there's that amplified damage that is being dealt by Eudora. So it works kind of like magical penetration because it reduces the target's magical defense. But the difference is that if you have magical penetration, then you're the only hero that can deal, like, let's say if you're supposedly dealing 100 damage and then you reduce you do penetrative damage of 120. So that 120 damage, you can also get that with a magical defense if you reduce magical defense. Let's say it's reduced by 20. So you can do 120 damage also. The difference is that if you do magical penetration, you're the only one that's doing it. If you reduce their magical defense, another one of your teammates can also be benefited from that. If they also have a magical skill, then they could also use the reduced magical defense done by the superconductor effect on that hero to amplify their damage as well. So it's kind of unique. Next, electric arrow. This one basically does some damage to the hero, to the enemy, to the target, stuns the target for 0.75 seconds, and you can times 2 that if the superconductor effect is there. So basically what you wanted to do is first skill, then do the second skill, then do the third skill. Third skill is a massive amount of damage. 700 damage at the base level. Enemies under superconductor state take 15% more damage. So aside from the reduced magical defense, you also do 15% more damage. As long as you follow this first skill, as soon as this first skill hits the target. So what you want to do with Eudora is a one pony trick. It's either you do first skill, then second skill, then third skill, or first skill, then third skill, and you don't need to use the second skill. Or just do the second skill, first skill, then third skill. Why would you do the second, first, then third skill in that order? First, you want to disable the opponent so that they will stay a little bit longer in that area that you want to conduct your damage. Because as a mage, her range is not that long. I mean, compared to other range heroes like, let's say, Gord. Gord's stun can reach far beyond what the screen can see. Eudora, on the other hand, it's just a basic circle around her. We'll see later in the video. It's just a basic circle around her. It's not really that high. So the first skill and the second skill is not that high. The third skill, of course, is also not that high in the cast point, but it deals an AoE damage. So any enemies that is within a circle surrounding the one you targeted will also get that splash damage. So that's for the hero skill build. What you want to prepare next is the emblem. So as a mage, you either go magical emblem, this one, magic power surge, dealing damage, increases your magic attack. Yep, you use this one. So the others are up to you. If you want to increase your magic power, I suggest you also put in it's either here in mana or here in mana regen. So if you want to maximize your magic power. But what I use here is vitality because she's very squishy. She's a mage. So that you could say, we'll just burst her down. She'll do no damage because we burst her down. Eudora is one of the very few mages that relies on nothing but walking to get to where she needs to be. So unlike other mages like, let's say, Guinevere, you can just jump basically anywhere, easily initiate, easily escape. Eudora needs to be set up. Like, come in there, just do some close range damage. Although the damage is good, but close range damage. So that's why I put some in vitality, then in mana regen, because if you don't have mana, what use are your skills? Next, I want not the magical lifesteal per se, but the cooldown reduction. Compared to the others, magical penetration, magical power, usually magical lifesteal and cooldown reduction are in just a few of the magic items that are available in the for the mage, right? So I chose this one, but feel free to swap it up, and of course you can go higher level. And for mage emblem, I recommend you either use magic worship or impure rage. Impure rage has the added bonus of, aside from the extra damage, has the added bonus of restoring 3% of your mana. So what will happen is that aside from that, you won't have any problem saying, oh my god, I casted a skill, now I don't have any mana to follow up with my ultimate. Or my second skill with the stun, I'm fucked. I just casted the first skill. They know I'm here. I'm dead. This one will prevent that if ever you come into that kind of dilemma. Magic worship, on the other hand, does not. There's a significant difference here in terms of damage output. Magic worship deals a lot of damage as compared to impure rage, because impure rage, every 5 seconds that you deal magic damage with your skills, you deal 4% damage of the target's current HP. So every time after your first skill hits, after 5 seconds, or let's say you got another first skill hit, the additional damage from impure rage would be much smaller, because its added damage is based on the target's current HP. So if their current HP is small, then the damage will also be small. The difference here is that magic worship will always do 7% of the max HP. If you meet the condition of doing 3 instances of damage within 5 seconds. Eudora is one of those that can do that. You just do the 1, 2, 3. First skill, second skill, ultimate. You can do that. Then take 7% off their max HP. Burn them 3 times. That's a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage. Anyways, for the breakdown, it's either magic power, cooldown reduction, movement speed. I chose movement speed and mastery because unlike magic emblem, in the magic emblem you could see here that there's an HP and mana. For mage emblem, you don't see that. You don't see mana regen, you don't see HP, you rely more on this one, movement speed. This one has no movement speed. It's like you're just standing there and then just keep hitting, right? Which is nearly impossible that you do that. This one is more like a mage, that you do have magical penetration. Your magic power is so high and coupled with magical lifesteal. So your only survivable item is movement speed, which is the same as what Eudora is like, right? So I put 2 points in agility. Other people can put 3 points, but I wanted to have the additional cooldown reduction on my skills. And then magic power. This is not plus magic power. This is plus a percentage of magic power. Not just any magic power, a percentage. So it's kind of good compared to the others. Magical lifesteal, magical penetration. This is also good magical penetration, but I chose magic power instead. So you can use either magical emblem or mage emblem for that. Personally, I use mage emblem with impure rage. And aside from the emblems, you need to have items for your Eudora. How do you get your items? As you can see, the items listed here are not your standard items. You can go here, equip, edit, reset. It's kind of different. Edit, reset. These are your standard items. But why? Why are these your standard items? Aside, well, in the second one, they wanted to show you that you have magic shoes and that you wanted to spam your cooldown on these things. And it's kind of similar to the first one, but it takes into effect, the first one takes into effect that you want to have more survivability first. You want to be in the action first, go entrance, do your damage, then get out. Repeat your cooldowns, then go back in. That's the essence that's the difference between the first and the second one. And for this third one, this relies more on your being a utility, more of durable. So it relies on Enchanted Talisman to have the low cooldown again on magic shoes, the somewhat control with the magical lifesteal and the slow, and more tankiness and cooldown reduction, and immortality. So basically, nearly nobody uses this one, durability. So how can I edit my items into like what I did earlier? I just resetted the items here. So it's either you look at the hot builds, you can see the top items here in the local rankings, which is, I think, similar to the pro builds. It depends on the likes and the popularity here in the hot builds, and then in the pro builds, the local tops. You can see the win rate of each player and what is the usual lineup they do, what are the win rates of those people on Eudora. So you can use this as a starting guide, not a definitive guide. Or you can go to leaderboards, heroes, mage, and search for for Eudora. So once you go to the Eudora page, you can see that there's a global and a local. I personally choose global. Once again, go back to Eudora, and you could say that this person here has a power of 3,107 accumulated over the span of how many games that he played with this hero, so that he accumulated 3,107 and is number 1 rank Eudora in the whole world globally. Inspecting his equipment, you could see that he uses Flicker as a spell. We'll get to the spells later. Flicker, and then Custom Mage Emblem. He chooses Magic Power instead of the cooldown reduction that I did. Catastrophe, which is Magic Power, which is also what I did. And Magic Worship, which is maximum magical damage output. So, I choose this one. I override it. I just click the equip. See? It's now looking the same. Equip to the second one. And then maybe I can choose another one. Equip it to another one. And there we go. So basically, these are not definitive. You could say that these are the more common builds that the top players in the world are using with their Eudora. But as a Eudora player, learn that you really have to adapt your items. Not just on Eudora. You really have to adapt your items depending on your team, how fast you want to play, how greedy can you play, what is the enemy lineup, what counters you, what can you counter, etc. So personally, I like to have different. Let's go back to preparation, equipment, and Eudora. Voila, it's there. Personally, I like to have my equipments here very different. I just edit it so that in game I can see where it came from, and then from there I can instantly choose what kind of build do I want to copy. Does it work in my current game? And even if I do want to copy it, does that build work for me and my playstyle and the opponent's lineup? So basically you could see all 3 lines have somewhat dissimilar items. The second, the global one line, this is just plain burst. You go Clock of Destiny, additional burst with Lightning Truncheon, then Concentrated Energy, then Holy Crystal. That's really big bad burst, but survivability in the middle. Whereas for this one upstairs, survivability first with the rapid boots, then burst, penetration and power, survivability. Then the next one is more of survivability and control. Survivability, burst, control and cooldown reduction, survivability, penetration, survivability. So you could say that there are different types of scenarios that you could plan while playing a hero. You look at your items and you could say, okay, this is not gonna work, I'm switching my items. Okay? So the last preparation that I want you to see is the abilities tree for Eudora. For Eudora, you're a mage. Unless you're really greedy and you don't think you can kill the enemy with your combos, execute, retribution, inspire, sprint. All these spells, not every one of them is useful to you. Personally, No to inspire. No to healing spell. No to petrify because you don't want enemies to go near you. Inspire, no, because you're not a melee attacker. Nowhere to hide. What's the use? You reduce their attack. You reduce their movement speed so that you can attack, right? But if you can't kill them with your combo, then it's useless. Or maybe if you're the one gone on, then it's useless. As a mage, you want to prioritize your survivability because you're the one doing burst damage. If you're the one getting bursted at the onset, your team will be lacking damage. And that's on you. That's on you to survive and do the damage that's needed at the right time. So, what are the things that you can use? 1. Sprint. The fastest movement speed increase of all of these abilities. The downside is, of course, you can be crowd control. Purify is the next one with an additional move speed so that you can run away faster from your enemies, but it's significantly slower than sprint. And its duration is much shorter, just 1.2 seconds. Sprint is 10 seconds, while having a decay effect of the speed at which you run within after 3 seconds. Another favorite is Flicker. So Flicker, you can jump over cliffs. You can just appear in a totally different angle. You can just totally appear out of nowhere to use your combo on an enemy, etc., etc. So the most commonly used spells is Flicker and Sprint. Personally, I also choose Purify, but Flicker, number one priority. If you don't have any let's say reservations that about being crowd controlled, that your teammates can back you up, Flicker, just go in, get out, easy. All the others, Inspire, no. Vengeance, no. Arrival, no. Healing spell, execute, petrify. I can go on. Retribution only if you're doing jungle, please. So don't do it. With that, I think we already took too much time. 23 minutes in. We've already gone through the spells, the items, the skills of Eudora. I've saved a replay of Eudora. Let's spectate it. Let's see. This is a classic mode battle, but what I wanted you to see is what kind of lineup that we employ, what kind of lineup the enemy employs, how are the rotations being done, and how we do what we needed to do to survive and win. Because looking at the lineups, we are really starting on the wrong foot. We have no fighters. We have no tanks. We're a team composed of Saber and Gushin, Kagura and Eudora, burst damage, assassin mages. Then a Leslie, MM/assassin again. All of us are squishy. We do burst damage, and only once. Maybe just Gushin can do sustained damage if he has fleeting time or if he's got buff. But aside from that, all of us are one-dimensional. We do our skills, then get back. We can only target one. Now, the enemy lineup has Cho, Mincetar, and Guinevere, 3 fighters, 3 crowd controllers. If any one of us got controlled by Cho or Guinevere, instant dead. We cannot survive that. Kimmy and Fanny on their backlines. Fanny can wreak havoc on us. We're all squishy. If that thing is so good, we're all dead. And then Kimmy. It's just going to be hell for us if she comes online so fast. So basing on that, we have three enemies that have crowd controls. I decided to pick Purify as my spell. And so here we go. So it looks like lane setup, Gushen in the mid, Leslie and Kagura at top, and then me, Eudora, and Saber at bottom. Um, I have no idea about the subsequent actions being done by Saber in the next few minutes, but I'm just trying to lessen the damage, as you can see. So what I did was, first item I chose boots because I know if I get hit like that, if I get hooked like that by Mincetar, or I get crowd controlled by the Cho in his first skill, I'm just plain dead if I don't have the move speed to get away from them. Although they also have move speed, but at least they won't be just running me down. Okay, so it's in light of that fact only. So I sacrifice magic damage, I sacrifice magic mana regen to have boots, And as for second item, I've yet to check. What I want to do was just survive this stage, because as of this moment, what I'm thinking is, oh shit, we're mages. Once we go level 4, that's when we're online. I'm just level 3 right now. I need to survive, nothing else. The opponents, however, are also level 3, because they took the crab without any contest. Now they will have a contest in form of Gushin. But he shows up, didn't wait for us to initiate and have that surprise advantage going in. But yeah, it's a fail gank. So in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, just gonna get level 4. Just gonna get level 4. And what's hard to watch is that the opponent already got 2 people level 4 before me, who's a solo laner. They're dual laning me, and still they're level 4 ahead of me. Both of them, they know they're the strongest also. If they can just hook me in or just first kill me with the Shunpo of Cho, I'll be food. Easy feeds. So what I'm doing is just trying my best to not be in their range, protecting the tower. I don't think I can go rotate yet because of that kind of pressure. At this point, I saw that they are in middle, so I took this chance to say, okay, pressure, 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 pressure. As you can see, I went rapid boots, giving the fastest move speed in the game, because I know after even initiating, so Purify isn't the fastest. As you can see, Kimi has sprint, so I need every little advantage I can take, and instead of Saber being the one getting hooked there, it seems I'm the one getting hooked. At least there's a trade-off between me and Cho, because he took the tower shots, he dealt me damage. So at least there's that trade-off. It's not that bad. So at least. But in the first place, I shouldn't have been privy. I shouldn't have been susceptible to that kind of attack, to that kind of hook damage from the Mincetar. Item check. As expected, the red team are all across board higher significantly in gold than us, because while we are a team of early gamers that we're online much faster in theory, but if we're all squishy and anyone can just dive us, then there's no point in the opponent trying their best to be like being afraid. There's no point. Oh, I missed that one. Sorry. But I bet overextended, then Fanny. Yeah, I remember. Fanny was the one. I didn't think that she would dive the tower for me, who was full health Eudora. But maybe seeing that Eudora with boots, it's not really anything worth remembering. Just kill her, right? So I did this move. I saw that they were diving behind our jungle lines, so I tried to flank him and it was successful. So my thinking here is that I'm the only one, aside from the ultimate by Saber, with an instant, sure crowd control. If my stun is even more reliable than Saber's ultimate. Why? Because Saber's ultimate versus Fanny, if Fanny already zips out, sure she would be knocked up, but she won't be retained in that same area, and maybe she would be so far away. And there's that fail contest of the third. Oh, it's not a fail contest. It's a good contest because Saber Swords were able to get it, the last hit. See? If Fanny was able to sustain that kind of kills on our whole team, if we all group together in this stage, group together in one lane, we might all die. Now, Fanny is our biggest concern because she can just wreck all of us with her as the lowest cooldown in her whole team. Them are single targets. Choice single target. But Fanny can attack all of us like nearly at the same time. Unless we're all grouped up idiotically in one very small place. Guinevere and Cho would be single targets. Easy. Now, my main concern is that, again, she got her Blade of Despair. I'm going to save my stun for when they really, really committed. And that my teammates are in a position to back up. Okay? So, I stunned Fanny earlier and got the assist. That's for me okay. And right here, setting up the kill for Kimmy. You know that Kimmy has a second skill, right? So, I go with the second skill, first skill, third skill. That's the way you do it. So that you get the superconductor effect from the first skill, and the necessary CC from the second skill, although you don't have the additional CC duration of the second skill, but at least you have that CC, so that you know that that Kimmy will stay in place long enough for you to land your first and ultimate skills. That's how we took down that Kimmy. Now, was it Kimmy's fault that she was caught unawares? No, we were just hiding there, really being very, very patient. And that was my fault too. You could say that it was Saber's fault maybe, but all of us went top. Leslie don't want to be the one in the front lines. So what happened was, I was the one they saw. Leslie can just move so fast away, so I'm the one they saw. Saber has that second skill to just move away again. So they caught me, I died. That's the very big flaw in Eudora's build-up. You have to walk up to your opponent to cast any of your skills, and if you have to walk up, you're rendering yourself vulnerable. Okay, there I casted the first skill and the second skill, because my third skill, first, second, third, in succession, so that we were able to get some return kills after they committed on the Kagura. Kagura at this stage is, you could say she's not that tanky, but because of her skills, she can have that small shield that she has, and that makes her a little bit tankier than the rest of us. So after she got initiated, we know that she won't just be bursted down that easily. We decided to commit. Both me and Leslie backed up Kagura earlier, and then we got the burst and return kill of 2 people. Item check again. So far, farm is very different on the sides, the 2 sides. 1k behind every single hero, more or less. So that amounts to around 5,000, 6,000 gold lead for the red team, which is significant at 13 minutes in. You could say that we could just get steamrolled. You get 1 or 2 pickoffs. Maybe they can just rush down a single tower. That almost does 2 kills if I was caught up in that knockup. But I did petrify. I didn't go back at. I saw that my teammates are still committing for their kills. I thought that they could use my additional damage. So I did what I could, then get back. Because top priority, if you die, let's just say even if you're not the most important among your team, if you die as a mage, with the most reliable spell, with the most reliable crowd control spell, then they can just say, oh, nothing can control us anymore. Nothing can stop us from going inside and taking down your base. So at this moment, we're just looking for an opening. Just looking for an opening. We can't contest the Lord. We can't just dive. I saw Saber getting attacked by Fanny. Instantly react. Try to back up. Try to just back up your teammates. Hope that one way or another there's an opening that will come up and we can get the chance to fight back, take back some more of the map control, get some more of the map back, get some more of our economy back, and hopefully it's enough to win the game. And the Lord killed, and that's a very good. I saw that opportunity, set first skill, third skill instantly, because everyone just collapsed on the Saber. After Saber does the initiation, Minsitar and Tro instantly collapse on the both of them along with Guinevere. But Guinevere was able to get out of the damage because my attacks didn't have CC. I just spammed my first and third skill. So the burst damage was enough to kill both of them. Along with the AoE of her spell, this Thunderstruck, whoever is in the range, in the circular range of your target, will also get dealt that amount of damage. Look at that damage. 1,290 base damage. That's just the base damage. So my item choices here are so far had been defensive, trying to survive. I go with Saber because I know he's the instant disable on our team. He instantly disabled Kimmy. I was able to follow up with the damage, the additional damage needed to kill the Kimmy. And now, even though that we got the tower, again, I got the stun but no follow up, sadly. At least it was a good defense overall. And we were able to get 4. It's trade-off for our Leslie also and our Kagura, but our only casualty is 2 against 4 of theirs, so it's a successful defense, I would say. Look at that. See? Not that reliable. You cast the ult, but if Fanny has already woven her tread, then she's gonna get out, even though she's knocked up. Let's see again my items. So, my thinking was that first item, rapid boots, because in the laning phase, both Cho and Mincetar are just gonna cream me if I'm slower than them. They're gonna just run at me, keep running at me until I die. I have to at least be faster than them if I want to have any semblance of survival capabilities. So that's what I did. Next, I chose Winter Truncheon. I don't want to be one-shotted by anyone. Although we have that capability of being one-shotted, that's just bad initiation on Guinevere's part. She already saw that 3 of her teammates just died, and that almost all our whole team was there, and still she chose to go in. She thought that maybe all the spells were expended, but Leslie don't need no spells. I was there to do the stun needed, and she's dead. She thought that she can get all of us, but no. Going back to the items. Winter Truncheon again, this one will render you immune to everything and anything and everything. You'll be stuck in place, of course. Last 2 seconds. But imagine the whole combo of Cho. Gone. No damage. Well, just the first flurry maybe, but at least that's 2 seconds time that your teammates could respond to you, right? It's very valuable. So I really sacrificed my magic damage early game for this Winter Truncheon. Next, I went for Holy Crystal and Clock of Destiny, because in the mid game, when all of our outer towers were being sieged, and that we were able to hold our inner turrets, I was able to get enough gold to buy magic damage. Oh, Fanny's there. Too bad, not nearly enough damage for the Fanny to die. She's able to live because of her Athena shield. But one thing for certain, she can't just run about anywhere. She already went back. She already precasted her tread back to the mid lane. Even though I already casted the stun on her, that stun followed her. And that was a misclick on my part. I'm not really gonna use Winter Truncheon there. Guinevere tried to initiate on me, but my teammates were there to back me up. So, as you can see, what we're doing is pick off. That's what we do. We are a team of, aside from, of course, from Leslie, just pick off one person. Kill them, reset, kill them, reset, kill them, reset. Now the difference is that the enemies have Cho, they got Fanny, they got Guinevere. What they're doing is that they're just responding to our pushback. It's not like they're saying, oh, we got the advantage in terms of numbers and the lead, So what we're gonna do is we're gonna keep pushing. Your middle tower is already gone. We're gonna keep pushing from both top and bottom sides. Split you guys apart and make sure that you don't cover each other. If you don't cover each other, then we'll have easier time to kill you. Because your spells are just one-dimensional. If we can survive your first combo, then you're dead. But it's a little bit harder to survive combos if all of you are grouped together. So that's just because that's not just one combo. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 combos. Something like that. And instantly Fanny tries to dive in, set it up. Cho also, he's got his target with the Leslie, got their targets. Although they killed the Fanny, it was a sacrifice they wanted to pay to get that Leslie, and they did. But the thing is, they shouldn't have been greedy. Like, Guinevere died needlessly, and Mincetar also died needlessly. He was solo there. He didn't think that we were still grouped up, but we were. Now we know there's only 2 of them, and that we're already seeing them. So what I did was go to the bottom. Try to give as much pressure as possible. Push back the waves away from our base, past the rivers. Hopefully we can get to another point that we'll be in a position to succeed. If we can get something like this again, like 3 people being killed in an instant simultaneously on their side, then we have a good chance of just taking the game. So what I did again in my mid game, going back to my mid game items, I went damage with the Holy Crystal and Clock of Destiny, which doubles also as a sustained item because of the HP being given. Concentrated energy, so that even though at this point we're already past the river, if ever I'm hit by some kind of spells or some harassing ability by the enemy, concentrated energy would sustain me enough to have spell steal. Any damage I did would give a percentage of the damage back to me as my health points, so I don't need to go back to my base to recover. And aside from that, Blood Wings, one of the biggest HP and magic items. So what I did with my Eudora here is just plain survivability. Don't need to go all glass cannon build and then go full damage, because they don't need just me to provide the burst damage. We all have burst damage. You could say at this point Leslie's burst damage is even even higher than ours, because she's already got her crits and Blade of Despair. So what I need to do most critically is to have my second spell available like that, so I can provide the crowd control. Now, since Lord will be charging in from the bottom, I deem it as duty to push the other lanes. Now, this is a complete reversal of what happened earlier in the past, let's say 13 minutes, that they were knocking on our doors. Since the time that they took our inhibitor turret in the mid lane, they have already failed to get more. Guinevere, as she jumps, Saber was able to attack her and then cancel it. Cancel her secondary ability, and it was enough. It was enough to provide us a victory because of the pressure from so many sides, and the constant crowd control and the burst damage. They just didn't have the answers. While the MVP on their side is Gwynny, because as you can see, she did most damage in their team. She, along with Kimmy and Cho, did the most damage in the team. Us, we banked it on the AoE control of Kagura and the initiation by Gushin. The three of also the initiation of Saber, the crowd control of his ult, and my second skill crowd control. And they just went in one by one. They didn't go, oh, I'm Minzitar. Let's just wait for my hook. Anyone I hook, kill them from afar. And with Kimmy, while that's happening, Cho can go to the backlines, get either Eudora or Leslie, because he's the one with the most immune to CC, or Fanny. Both of them can do that. So no, what they did was they just responded to our pressure, and they just didn't succeed. So we were able to accumulate enough items to sustain ourselves, bring us back from the depths of losing, and have a comeback. And it's a great game. Hopefully, this can help you in your playstyle for Eudora. So it's not just, you can use any item that you think will be good for you, will be good along with your teammates, will be good against your opponent. It's just a matter of execution, and if you have the teamwork to pull it off.